everyone, my name is Wendy Lu. I'm currently a second-year student at Fordham University School of Law and a staff member at Intellectual Property, Media, and Entertainment Law Journal. Today we're going to talk about the impact of Millennial and Generation Z on e-commerce. I invited Carly Gleichenhaus, a second-year student at Northeastern University School of Law, to discuss shopping habits of our generations and privacy concerns. Carly, you want to make a self-introduction?
Hi, like Wendy said, I am a second-year law student at Northeastern, and thanks for having me today, Wendy.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. Carly, do you consider yourself Generation Z or a millennial?
I'm not positive. I was born in 1996, so I feel like depending on what you're looking at, people say it could go either way.
So actually, you're not. You are actually a millennial. So according to Field Research Center, anyone born between 1981 and 1996 is considered a millennial. And anyone born from 1997 onward is part of a new generation. So you're still millennial. And there are about 82 millions of millennials. So you're not alone. So if you look at the chart that nowadays Gen Z has caught up to millennials, and there will be more Gen Z sooner or later than millennials. And they are the driving force of the purchasing power. So they would drive up the e-commerce market more than we do in the next 20 years. Let's turn to e-commerce. So we would talk about two of millennials' favorite, online shopping and meal kits, and their increasing growth after COVID. The COVID pandemic shifted many people's shopping habits, and the lockdown has even forced some boomers to join the ride of online shopping. Forrester, a market research firm, sees online retail growing 80.5% this year, so that it will reach 20.2% overall penetration in North America. By the end of 2020, global e-commerce sales are expected to reach 4.2 trillion, explained in a report by Shopify. Carly, did you scramble for toilet paper when COVID first hit?
I actually didn't have too much of an issue when it first hit because me and my roommate, we usually just online shop for all of our paper products. So probably a few weeks before COVID officially took over Boston, we had gotten maybe about 50 rolls of toilet paper. Truly it didn't affect us that much. And then once we got halfway done with that, we just ordered another bulk order. So it kind of shows how dependent already, even before COVID, we were on online shopping for things like toilet paper and paper towels and such.
Yes, and in fact, in case you don't know, the second wave of toilet paper shortage is back. So just 2 days ago, Business Insider reported that Walmart is struggling to maintain toilet paper and cleaning supplies in stock. Several grocery chains like Giant and Kroger are bringing back limits. So besides toilet paper shortage, as a millennial, as you said, you relied on online shopping pre-COVID. How often do you do online shopping? Any difference before and after COVID?
Well, I guess I've never been huge into online shopping other than pre-COVID. I got kind of on the whole online grocery shopping trend. Just because living in a city, it's kind of annoying to make it to the grocery store and then lug all of your stuff back with you on public transport or have to take an Uber or something. So I used to do Instacart a lot, and now I actually just switched over to Amazon Fresh, which I'm enjoying that right now. Other than that, I guess I'm a big Amazon user where I'll buy random things that I probably don't need, but it's a lot easier to get things online than to actually go into stores now, especially with COVID now.
Could you tell us more about Instacart? Where did you hear about it? What is your experience like to Amazon Fresh? Did you just happen to come across it on Amazon?
So I used to do Instacart. I think I probably just heard about it from other friends that used it in various cities. I really like it because you go on an app and order everything you want. They drop it off at your door, in a window you choose. But the only thing with that are the fees can sometimes really add up, where you have, taxes, obviously, then the delivery fee, and you want to tip your driver too. That's actually what recently Amazon Fresh, I think it's a new branch of Amazon, which is pretty much the same thing as Instacart. They just started in Boston, and me and my roommate were looking, and it said that it was free delivery for orders over $35, which is super easy to do when you're grocery shopping. Pretty much either of us will just do every few weeks a big grocery store, like a big Amazon Fresh order, and of course we're spending over $35. So it's really convenient. It comes to you. You can get it within 2 hours, but sometimes they sell out of things. I usually do it a day in advance of when I want my groceries. But super easy. They have most things on there and really good prices. So I'm probably going to continue using Amazon Fresh throughout the pandemic, I'm thinking.
Do you notice how often your parents go to the grocery store? I know that now you probably don't, and you just order a huge Amazon Fresh order, but how often do your parents go to grocery stores when you were growing up?
So my mom actually she hasn't really hopped on the online groceries yet. I think when it's just now her and my dad at home, she might go once a week or every other week. But when me and my brother are home for holidays and stuff, it'll probably be like a few times a week just because we tend to eat more. And yeah, I would say at the minimum once a week, maximum maybe 3 times.
So that just shows the trend between generations as to how often they go to grocery stores and how often, and what means they use to get grocery. So actually, Forbes has rated Instacart as the #1 most promising company in America, and their value to millennials like us is very simple: saving the whole trip, getting on board of the public transportations, going to the store, walking down the aisles, finding the products that we want, and bring the goods home. And this may not seem easy, but in and out, it will cost you around 45 minutes, time that you could spend otherwise. So online grocery has hit its boom due to COVID. Since people have more time at home, they can browse through the website and search for what they need at a better price. A major driving force of online grocery shopping are the essential goods. At one point, it was buying a lottery ticket where buyers are uncertain where they could locate the supplies. If you look at this chart in Business Insider's in the online grocery report, you will see an escalating reliance on online grocery shopping. And I believe that's true for all of us, that instead of like going to all kinds of stores to try to locate what we need, it's better to just order it online and let them inform us. So let's move to the second popular thing among millennials, the meal kits. Carly, have you seen those ready-made meal kits advertisement on social media? Let me throw some key phrases on you, like made fresh every day, prepared by professional chefs, convenience, proteins and veggies, no carbs, etc. Have you tried those meals?
Yeah, I've definitely seen them all over social media. And I did end up doing, I think, like a week's worth of HelloFresh, just because one of my friends, her and her boyfriend did it for some time, and I guess they had the free week to give away to somebody else. So they gave me the free week of HelloFresh, which I thought it was really fun. It's nice because they give you the perfect little amount of everything. I guess it's nice if you like to cook, but I guess some of them already have the pre-made meals. Even the HelloFresh, while like they did make it easy, you still like spent time like cutting everything up and doing it. Great meals. If you don't like to cook, I don't think that's what you're gonna go for. But I have other friends that actually, like, during the pandemic, they got really into it. I think my one friend did Blue Apron for like her and her mom at home, and she really loved that. It's a good way to try new recipes and not have to go out and get big quantities of all of these like little things for the recipes that you're gonna need.
Yeah, so you mentioned there are 2 types of meal kits, and ready to cook meal kits is HelloFresh, and ready-made meal kits are the ones that are already made and you just put it in the microwave. So the meal kit delivery market will achieve revenue of $90.92 billion by 2027, according to a new report from California-based Grandview Research. And what is surprising that to these meal kits is that older adults are picking up this trend too because of COVID. They live alone and they usually have to prep meals for themselves. And it's actually easier for them to just hit it up or just make it as portionized and prep for them. So they even save some trips to grocery stores or even the online shopping. However, all these like trendy meal kits and convenient online shopping came with a cost. privacy. The dominating marketing strategy for e-commerce is personalization. E-commerce personalization means showing individualized offers, product recommendations, and other content to your visitors based on their previous actions, demographics, and other personal data. So there are like a few channels that they personalize. They personalize to customers, so emails, cross channels, web channel, like mobile devices, point of sale, and social channels. I remember when COVID first hit, that emails just starting to swarming into all my email addresses, and I actually set up email address that's just for advertisement. So how did you respond to these advertisements when COVID first hit?
Emails about COVID?
No, like emails about because they no longer can like just tell you what's happening, like what discounts they had on the store. They just send you. I was counting about 2 emails a day from certain retailers. So how do you react to that?
I, like you, like I have kind of like a junk email that I sign up for a lot of those types of promo emails for. I kind of just let them flow in there and ignore it. Every once in a while I'll go through and delete them. But what I think alerts me more is like I get like texts from some clothing stores now too, telling me about, different like deals they're having and everything, just because I think a lot of stores right now are getting hit pretty hard without having that many people actually come into the physical storefront. I think that we're kind of going to end up seeing like a big change in, I think, a lot of businesses actually having like the amount of physical locations they have and gearing more towards online shopping and just really getting out like these ads through email, text. I see a lot on social media too.
I guess as millennials, we all have our technical ways to deal with like these kinds of like advertisements, just set up junk mailboxes or just could block all the contacts. But what in terms of personalization, that these are certain methods that e-commerce marketers suggested to retailers that they could just personalize search results, like send personalized emails based on user behavior, use geolocation targeting, and basically, they're just trying to give you a sense of customized, to feel like psychologically connected. What do you think of that, Carly? Like, how do you feel about all these personalization, utilizing your private data?
Well, I think I have 2 feelings about it. I guess the first is, it's kind of nice to have ads on things that I am interested in, to like get those like, okay, like that's actually something I see myself buying, rather than getting ads for things that I'm not interested in at all. And then there's the other side of it where it's kind of like, this is a little creepy, like I think like you're talking about something or just like Googling something one day, and then like the next you're getting ads for it on the side of your web browser, and you're seeing ads on like your Instagram page. So I see the positive aspect of having targeted ads, but also I think everybody feels the little bit of, Big Brother's watching you type feeling.
You mentioned that you receive texts from certain retailers too. Like, did you give them your number or intentionally, or were you expecting those texts?
Yeah, those ones were actually, like, I got a lot from American Eagle, and I think it's because I signed up for some type of reward program at some point, to, like, get the points every time you buy something, things like that you kind of just sign up for without even really thinking about it, and then you get emails and texts for, like, a decade after that.
Yeah, so like for you, that many people do that. But for me, I actually gave them fake phone numbers so that they cannot market that toward me, but I could still collect the rewards. I know that's what some people have been doing. Also, I do know that that's also what caused robocalling. So even if you give them the fake phone number, they somehow can generate that real phone number based on whatever number you gave them. So that's one way how spam calls work. And a lot of people don't have problem with these kind of personalizations. Salesforce recently published a State of Connected Customer report and found customers prefer customized marketing that will save them time and energy searching. For some Gen X and millennial consumers, there are invaluable exchanges for a better shopping experience, and customers do spend 80% more when their shopping experience is personalized. Plus, 57% of online shoppers are comfortable with sharing their personal information with a brand if it benefits their shopping experience. So let's say, Carly, you really want to purchase a gift for your loved ones, and you give the retailer your loved one's age, preferred color, and size through browsing history. And you need to give them their names and locations in exchange of a discount. Does that facilitate your shopping experience, or that concerns your privacy?
The concerns I have with that are giving somebody else's private data like that. I think I have an issue with that. I know for a fact that my parents would be really uncomfortable with that. I think I kind of being at the end of the millennial age and on the cusp of Gen
Z?
Xers, Gen Z. Whatever. I think that I've kind of gotten a bit more comfortable with the fact that there's pretty much a complete lack of privacy across the board. I think it's just grew up with that atmosphere. So I'm a little bit more, I guess, not fully comfortable, but kind of just accepting that that's what it is. But I do know that I would feel really uncomfortable giving somebody else's private information out without their consent, I guess.
So would you always ask, if you're sending a gift to your loved ones, you would ask, is it okay for me to put your name? But I presume that if you're doing a surprise gift, that you wouldn't do that, right? You would always make sure it's their names and locations.
I didn't understand your question. If I'm sending a gift to somebody, I would probably I'd put their name and address in, but I usually put my number and my email in as the contact for whatever I'm sending.
Okay, but every time when we see that, if you just give some information that in exchange for a discount, I think not over 50% of people will be willing to do that, because it's not that our information is not out there. It's always accessible, even though we don't give it to them. It's not that giving this to this retailer will expose our privacy or something, but I think we do have that kind of expectation of what's going on. What about social influencers? Presumptively, you watched a beauty YouTuber's video, and the second you turn on your Instagram, you see an ad of what that YouTuber just recommended. Do you think that's personalized marketing anymore, or you are concerned of what else is leaked?
Yeah, I think that might be a little bit of part where I'm a little sketched out about. What I think is the most frightening is when you're have Instagram or Facebook open or something, you're having a conversation about something and then you get ads on that. I think that it's definitely still targeted, but that's more personal. I think getting to the point of an invasion of privacy in order to be as personal as possible. I think that's where it crosses the line a bit for me.
This is exactly the problem that we talk about as personalization. They have to utilize your data to create that kind of personalization sense, because if they just send you unrelated information, like sending you men's belts, that's not something we want to look at. And we all have this life that we just want to see the things that we care about. So I guess that's a fine line for retailers to walk on and to see what they can do. So do you know what kind of privacy protections are out there for our personal identifiable information?
No, I'm not really that familiar.
So there are a few, and the first one that I think you may or may not have heard of is the California Consumer Privacy Act, the CCPA, that actually just went into effect this July 2020. If you go to all kinds of retailer websites, you see "Don't sell my data now" underneath them, and that's what they require. The statute provides California consumers with significant new rights over business use of their personal identifiable information, including the right to know what information is being collected, the right to have information deleted, and the right to opt out of the sale of information. So they allow consumers to bring suits individually or a class-wide basis if they believe a company doing business in California fails to implement and maintain reasonable security procedures and practices, resulting in leakage of personal information to unauthorized parties. So actually there have been a few lawsuits happening under the CCPA, and the recent one is the TikTok one. The plaintiff alleges a claim that calls out violations of the CCPA's notice and do not sell requirements, and they said that TikTok is collecting their facial images without their consent and did not notify them. This has some kinds of questions that's on your mind when you're using social media, like when you post on your IG, Instagram stories. Are you concerned of having notice of your data being sold? What do you think of that?
It's kind of the same thing. Like I said earlier, I think I've just kind of accepted that is the world that I'm living in now. I do have other friends, though, that are super concerned with facial recognition and that type of things when it comes to social media data. But honestly, I'm not too concerned. Maybe I'm under concerned of like where I should be.
Would you, like, if someone say that there's no obligations for social platforms to protect your data, would you reduce your posting at all?
I guess it really depends what type of content you're sharing. In terms of like what I share, there's not really anything that I'm worried about getting leaked. I think that's something that you need to understand. I think posting anything on social media, that like the internet is open to everyone and things can always, no matter what protections are in place, sometimes things fall through the cracks. So personally, like, I don't think that there's anything that I have on any of my social media accounts that I would be that worried about getting out.
What about Zoom now that we pretty much just Zoom everything? Are you concerned about Zoom that there are people who actually file lawsuits against Zoom that saying that did not have any security procedures to protect personal information and allowed the leakage to Facebook and other social platforms? What about Zoom?
I guess I haven't really thought about it that much, as like I just started using Zoom this year. But I have heard that their privacy has not been fantastic. I think that's something that they have worked on since there have been reports. I'm not really sure what advancements those really entail. Personally, like, I mean, I use it every single day. I guess it's kind of against my will because I have to use it for school now. But I guess generally, I used to also do it to socialize with friends, but now I've moved kind of back to like FaceTiming. I prefer that as like social video chat option.
So I guess that as COVID continues to happen, we all have to adapt to this growing reliance on technology. It's interesting how that Congress is trying to push a bill for COVID-19 especially. This is called COVID-19 Consumer Data Protection Act of 2020, and it generally prohibits covered entities from collecting, processing, or transferring an individual's personally identifiable information for the purpose of contact tracing with respect to COVID-19 without first obtaining that individual's affirmative consent to use such information. Basically, it just says that if you gave someone's or some entities your personal information and they're not allowed to just disclose it for any other reasons, that's pretty much the bill. So what do you think of this? It has not been passed yet. Do you think this will help the spread of COVID-19 or it will help like our data protection?
I don't think it's really going to do much to decrease the spread of COVID-19. I think that it's kind of beyond tracking what people are doing online. Personally, I don't think that's going to do very much.
Thank you for joining me today, and I guess that's the end of our podcast.